Hey, hello, coming to you live from New Zealand with a funky little voice. It's going up and down, in and out, but hey, who cares? I'm here to share with you a bit of our story. The story of Mr. Miller and I. You saw me dancing with him earlier last week, we were doing a dance break. And so many of you commented that it was so sweet and how lovely it was. And so I thought I would tell you this fun little story about how going to a funeral of a friend of ours got us together. So it was at this funeral that we learned that the man who had died was a dancer, that I learned that. My current husband, my acquaintance at that point, I barely knew him. I knew his name, and I kind of knew a little bit about him, but not too much, was there. And I said out loud, wow, I never knew that Peter was a dancer. And this lovely man, Robin Miller, who I've grown to love. But anyway, in that day, when he heard me say that, he said, yeah, I know. Isn't it a shame that we all go to the same church and we don't really know one another? And I was like, wow, that is so true. We can be in the same place with the same people, hanging out, going to church, doing our activities, and we don't even get to know one another. So I said to him, no problem. I will gladly get to know you. Here's where I will be. We're going to be on the Labor Day in the USA. We were having a Music in the Mountains day of music and a cookout. And I was on the grill. I was scheduled to be on the grill all day. Volunteered, actually. I enjoyed that part of doing that. So I said, this is where I'm going to be on this date. You just come on down and you can get to know me because I'll be there all day. No problem. And he's like, all right. So I was there all day. And about 3 o'clock, Robin still had not shown up. So I was like, So I exited from the area that I was cooking, had somebody watch the grill for me, and I went in and called him. And I said, you was evidently just speaking out your, warrior. Yeah, because you ain't here. I'm here. No, I don't see you. And I left that on his answer machine. And 35 minutes later, he was standing there in front of me. Now, it's a 40-minute drive. And he was all dressed up and had really, try to put himself in the best light that he could. And I could tell that he had taken a little bit of time to put himself together. And so he was, wanting to get to know me because I threw the gauntlet back in his court. And he took me up on the challenge and down he came. So we spent, so he arrives. And then he starts barraging me with questions. Poof, 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 poof. I had no idea what I was in for when I said, come on down and I'll get to know you. And he's just asking a question. I was like, whoa, I'm not even sure I want to get to know you. I am so not sure I want to get to know you. But why don't we slow it down a little bit? I'll call you and we can continue the conversation. It's time to pick up now, so let's help me clean up. So he helped me clean up and we started talking on the phone. After that, we talked every day, 2 or 3 times a day for the next 2 to 3 months. It was great. And then not sure how far into the relationship we were, but there was one point where he kept asking me what I thought of him. And I said, well, you're a bit of a conundrum. And he's like, well, I want you to be really honest and tell me how you feel. I said, that's fine. Okay, I will then. I said, you're a bit of a conundrum because I don't understand what I'm seeing you physically doing, your actions and your the way you move your body and things doesn't match what I'm seeing coming out of your head, which is super high intelligence. But he was just a little clunky with some of his movements. And so it was a bit of a conundrum because normally we would judge that as something that's not, normal, normal. Yeah. It's so bad that we judge people. But anyway, we do. And so I think he was feeling that I was being negative. And what I was really being was truthful in telling him what I felt and what I was seeing. Because that's what he said to do. He said, be truthful. So I was being truthful. And the next thing I know, like no communication, everything shut off, won't answer the phone, won't talk to me on instant messenger because I'd been on messenger for a while with him and we've been talking on messenger. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I decided, actually, I just couldn't let go of him. By this time I decided I really wanted to be with this man and I really liked him. Hadn't really told him that yet, but he got me. So I stalked him. Really, I did. I knew where he worked. I knew where he parked his car. So after about 3 weeks of him not returning any phone calls and not talking to me, and me knowing that he was online talking to who knows who and whatever, but not talking to me, all because I had said this I didn't even really know why, other than that was the last thing that I had said, so I figured it had to be that. So I went to his work, climbed in his car, and sat there and waited for him until he came out of work in the morning because he worked the night shift. And there I was sitting in his car, and he just kind of looked at me and swallowed. And he got in the car, and I said, I'm sorry. I know this is stalking you, but you weren't answering my calls, and you wouldn't talk to me. So this is the only way I could think to get to you, to tell you, and to find out what's going on. I said, you're the one who told me to be truthful, and then I am, and you cut off all conversation, all communication. Is that fair? I actually really like you. I want to spend time with you. I want to get to know you more. I want to be with you. And he didn't really have much that he could say at that point. He just said, okay. And it's going to be okay, he said, but still didn't open up the conversation for another few days. And he eventually did start talking again. And we are now married, of course, as I told you in the beginning. So all things do work together for good. And sometimes you have to stalk a man in order to get a man. And it was so worth it. And I was so far outside my comfort zone. And I really felt like, oh my gosh, am I going to get in trouble for stalking him? Like, is he going to call the police? What is going to happen? But he didn't. And it was a while longer, but we eventually got there. So we talked off and on for a year, and then we were married. And I can tell you another time about when he asked me to marry him and how he did that with a bucket of popcorn. Or a popcorn bucket. A popcorn bucket. Yes. Alrighty. Hope you've enjoyed this little bit of our story. And I will talk to you another time. If you want to follow me to see what I'm saying next, go ahead and click follow wherever it is. Blessings.